Good morning again. Today is Thursday. Whew. Congratulations, you're on the last 2 days of the week. We got through Wednesday. Wednesdays are usually the hardest day for me. But I did find out something important today. I was able to ask my pastor about why, in all of these plagues, at least the later ones, why it says that the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart. Because we know that God doesn't interfere with free will, which means that he isn't going to make us do anything. We have to decide what we're going to do. So the first ones, so I'm already reading a little bit of them. So the plague of blood. Yeah. So it just says Pharaoh's heart became hard. Plague of frogs. Pharaoh saw that there was relief. He hardened his heart. So that was him. Gnats. Pharaoh's heart was hard. The plague of flies. Pharaoh hardened his heart. Livestock. Yet his heart was unyielding. Boils. So the boils is the first one where it says that the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart. So I was curious as to why that was, because it sounds like he's taking away his free will to actually continue to make the decision. And the reasoning he gave me was that there is there is a time for grace and forgiveness, and there is a time for not having grace and forgiveness. And I guess Pharaoh had done it so many times that, God was like, well, you have rebelled against me so many times that now it's, your heart is just going to be hard, or your heart is going to be hard. Um, and so that's why, and then he did all the plagues to him. So I am a little interested to keep talking about it with him. My goodness, I'm sorry. Just to get a little bit more clarity on it. I still have a few more questions because I have such a half and half brain where I'm not sometimes satisfied with some of the answers I get, but then that's where faith comes into play because you're not supposed to know everything 100%, like down to fact, like this is a fact, so it's proved and everything like that. So yeah, I am going to talk to him more about it. Got it right that time. But for today, we get to the final plague, I believe, that is incurred on the Egyptians. It is the plague on the firstborn, which is, yes, going to be the most deadly. Um, and yeah, we'll see what happens in these 10 verses today. Now the Lord had said to Moses, I will bring one more plague on Pharaoh and on Egypt. After that, he will let you go from here, and when he does, he will drive you out completely. Tell the people that men and women alike are to ask their neighbors for articles of silver and gold. The Lord made the Egyptians favorably disposed toward the people, and Moses himself was highly regarded in Egypt by Pharaoh's officials and by the people. Interesting. So Moses said, This is what the Lord says. About midnight I will go throughout Egypt. Every firstborn son in Egypt will die, from the firstborn son of Pharaoh, who sits on the throne, to the firstborn son of the female slave, who is at her handmill, and all the firstborn of the cattle as well. There will be loud wailing throughout Egypt, worse than there has ever been or ever will be again. But among the Israelites not a dog will bark at any person or animal. Then you will know that the Lord makes a distinction between Egypt and Israel. All these officials of yours will come to me, bowing down before me and saying, Go, you and all the people who follow you. After that I will leave. Then Moses, hot with anger, left Pharaoh. The Lord had said to Moses, Pharaoh will refuse to listen to you, so that my wonders may be multiplied in Egypt. Moses and Aaron performed all these wonders before Pharaoh, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let the Israelites go out of his country. So the plague doesn't actually happen on this one, but we will get to that one tomorrow. So this is just telling what's going to happen. um, what was the thing that? Oh, the Lord made the Egyptians, verse 3, which is just in parentheses for some reason. So added on. Uh, the Lord not added on after, but just kind of like an added piece of information. You know, still important, but anyway. The Egyptians favorably disposed toward the people, and Moses himself was highly regarded in Egypt by Pharaoh's officials and by the people. So everybody in Egypt respected Moses, is what I'm getting from that. The Egyptians favorably disposed toward the people, and the Israelites were favorable towards the Egyptians, or the Egyptians were favorable towards the Israelites. Made the Egyptians favorably disposed toward the people. I don't know. Maybe it could go either way. About midnight, I will go throughout Egypt. So he himself will go through. And every firstborn son in Egypt will die. I mean, firstborn son. That'd be, I'd be gone. I'm the firstborn son. I'm the only son, but I'm also the firstborn son. So yeah, I mean, just think of that. Every firstborn son throughout all of Egypt. But the Israelites will not have a dog bark at anybody or any animal. Then you will know that the Lord makes a distinction between Egypt and Israel. Moses, hot with anger, left Pharaoh. So he's very upset with Pharaoh, probably because he's doing all of this that's going to harm all of these people. So I think this comes up another question too. With all of these firstborn sons dying, if they are made favorable, if any of them happen to believe in God, is this an instance where even though they die, they might go to heaven? Or are all of them, kind of like defaulted to hell because of the situation? I like to think that like God's grace comes into that step, and if anybody in the Egyptian like area actually does believe, but they still want to be Egyptians, I don't know. I mean, it's hard because then if you really believed in God, you wouldn't continue to be an Egyptian. You would like go leave the Israelites or to be with the Israelites. And maybe Pharaoh didn't allow him. I don't know, but maybe there were some people that got their heads on straight because they were kind of rebelling against Pharaoh. All right, well, I'm not going to speculate too much longer because this was another interesting one. We have a long one tomorrow, but it's very important. And then we get to the aftermath of the plagues and what happens. Um, yeah. All right. Enjoy your Thursday, everybody, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning.